Blended. Shoutouts. And I will do this little thing. And I'll go there. I'll do a little bit of things here. That's the wrong one. I will start now with prep, and when you guys can. So, this is the sort of session and prep start for the whole thing. We are looking at the Vampire the Masquerade 2nd edition. Depending on a little bit, we might need to fuse things in and have it at the ready. I do not know if the character sheets combat. Natural weapons, melee weapons, ranged weapons. Plus new range. Okay, so you will this is new ranged weapon description. Okay. So how do you go about ping you guys can. So the rest of the players will join in a little bit later, like an hour maybe, a little bit less. How do you actually change the name of this thing then? Can't click there. It's basically like roll new. So is it when I click? No, when I click this, I just add one more. See if Rethix is coming in too.
How's it going?
Yeah, we're doing good. I'm trying to figure out how you can change names on certain stuff. To combat. Sheet setting, use special sheet. Cannot edit as the sheet is locked. Oh, locked there, okay. Combat. It's like I can. Ooh. Oh, all right. Okay, cool. Now I know. It's the same address if you want to join in.
Sure. 1 second here. Let me lower my headset. You're really loud for some reason.
Maybe it's just me this time.
I think it was my headset.
We'll see when Redix joins in.
Me. Go ahead and pin that because always using it anyways.
The pin for what now?
I was just pinning one of the
Addresses?
I am use. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I think Redix knows it more than you, so it's probably
Yeah,
a
it's gonna be
little bit
mostly
of go through. That might be interested. Have you been at all looking at any of the White Wolf materials?
Rethix did share with me. I asked him if he had a copy of
Mm-hmm. So you looked at something.
like the core rule book.
Yeah.
But he was like, I don't know which one you were thinking of using.
Yeah.
So, like, the one that I have is a green 20th anniversary edition.
Yeah, it's one that came out a little bit later. It's not really the. I'm gonna be like low here. We're gonna play a little bit older version of it, mostly because the later ones added a lot of stuff, so it's easier to start simple and then work out from it if you want to. And the main idea is that the system revolves around a dice pool instead of a given dice by itself. So you don't really roll like a d20 or d100 or whatever. You bunch a lot of d10s into a pool, and then you roll and you have like a set difficulty, let's say 6. And then you see how many 6s or greater you rolled. That'll be like, I had this many successes with the roll, or this few successes, or I failed completely. So that's the sort of basis of how White Wolf solved it. And I would say that the system works very well if you're doing like a storytelling game. But if you're doing very complex or very like PvE, like action scenes, it might be a little bit too simplified, but it does work. So, and it is very simple to kind of grasp the idea. And you have a character sheet, right? It's under the PCs.
Yeah, it's just completely blank for me.
Configure.
It should be under actors,
right? Yeah, now it should work, right?
Thank you.
You should have the ownership of it.
Thanks.
Yeah. So the core idea is that you use very often, if you're doing any sort of test, probably low cheating, one part attribute and one part ability. So for instance, if you're doing a stealth, you're probably going to use the part of dexterity and the skill stealth, which is in the middle far down. And by it, you will then see what will be the outcome. There will be like a set difficulty. Let's say it is a 6, which is a normal sort of difficulty. You would then see that it is basically a fair, easy task if you have a couple of die on your hand. And the sort of setup for it all is that it is built upon generations of different vampires that have lived. And the oldest ones are kind of debating if the oldest of them all, the generation one, would be Cain, like the Bible Cain. He who
Yes.
would be the one who would walk on the earth forever because he killed his brother and stuff. And from there, he started his own family or his own sort of clan or his own sort of start generation. And those would be the generation two and all the way up. And each generation closer to Cain is stronger. So generation 4, 5, 6, and so forth are stronger. By each generation going up is more diluted. And as a new player, the character are of 13. There are ways of getting lower generation if you wanted to. But the main one is that you are far away, kind of a neonite, a version of like a very newly hatched vampire.
Okay.
And the sort of background and the premise and idea is that a lot of the vampires belong to a specific clan, and each clan is very defined by what they are, and what they will see as their short-term and long-term goal moving forward. So you will belong to a specific clan that has been developed through a series of background, and we will kind of look into that too. But all these clans serve under a ruler, and one would say that there are enough, but maybe not a given, that all clans are represented in each city, especially if there are like a big city, like in the States, like Chicago would be a fairly big one, or New York would be a very big one. In the counterparts of something that is very small, would be like there are just a few people within the clan that are represented. Maybe even someone is represented but not living there. But a greater city probably has all of them and some within them. And the presence is often shrouded by what the Masquerade is called. So this one and some of its other editions talked very well about the Masquerade being a great thing, which basically means that they don't want another Salem. They don't want another Purge. So they themselves try to hide who they are from the outside and do everything in secrecy. So therefore the Masquerade, we hide who we are.
Yeah.
Anything about that feels question?
I think I'm good on it. I'm sure like as we get more into it, I'll probably have questions. So
Yeah. Well, I'll just stop along the way. And each like city group, city clan, like as a whole, has a lot of different entities within them, almost like a sort of brotherhood or whatever. They could have this sort of specific honorable titles, and those are given to certain people, kind of like bikers have treasury and sergeants of arms and stuff like that. But that is something that is given more flesh if needed be. A thing that is always going against the vampires are often the hunters.
Uh-huh.
Noted as like the old Inquisition back in the day, and a very strong component are the werewolves, the lupines. They don't like them at all. And starting up, I know that the Redix knows most of the things. So I'm trying to skip ahead. And the concept is always difficult to kind of wrap around the idea of a concept. Kind of like, who are you as a character? What is the core concept? It's going to be like impossible to answer if you haven't played it before, because it's kind of like, I don't know what the game is about, right?
Yeah.
But that's off. That's things they are asking fairly early on, but it's really difficult to kind of say before you've gotten into things later on. So we're going to skip a little bit about the things that we're going to go back to. I think I have to delete this thing. Yeah, so if you're looking at the bio, Redix, do you see your character?
Yes.
The bio would be filled with stuff that we later can come back to, because it's very depending on what you have picked up later or made as a character. The vampire itself is probably going to be like, you start in the middle, determining what kind of clan you would like to be in, and then you move back to see what kind of demeanor, nature, concept, and stuff like that serves the purpose.
Awesome.
So looking into the different clans, which would be a good start, I would say. Not the Chronicle. The clans. And the clans are very stereotypical, kind of like to the max. It's very, very stereotypical. And I will probably do like just put them in as things in the chat in Foundry. So the Brua is what you would say the anarchists, the ones that are portrayed as the upside down A, the ones that are going against the grain, wants to change the system, and like F the man and stuff like that. And they are often considered like the criminals and the punk sort of concepts, leather jackets and wanting to be like changing the world in a way. We'll get back to them, but I think just going through them very shortly is better than kind of diving into it, and it will just clog the mind, right?
Yeah.
Gangrel is what would be the sort of nature aspect of a vampire. The ones that are the drifters, the truckers, the sort of living by nature, could find one like in a sort of hobble way out in the nowhere, preppers and people that tend to like live very close to earth and very close to the beast themselves and stuff like that. Very bestial of them all. Truckers indeed. That's how I see them. And I guess that Fredrix, you can kind of jump in if I'm making it completely wrong. Malkavians are those that are from a lot of the other clans considered like the Looney Tunes and the crazy people, but they are often misled and have a lot of wisdom deep inside there. They are just weird people that have been picked up from the not the yeah, they're basically insane. Weirder the better. No one really understands them completely, but maybe that's what they want to, if it makes sense. And then we have the Nosferatu, which are the corest of elements to a vampire you can get. They are the vampires of like where the faces have changed into almost what would you would say is a vampire. A lot of deranged facial feature, and they have gotten very people would say that they are ugly and they are pushed into this sort of box of the beast of Beauty and the Beast. They are just like in the background. However, they are keepers of great knowledge, even so. And they are cast-offs and failures of the society. We do have the Toreador, which are the more artistic people, singers or artists, painters, and very expressional people. The ones that like are on the very edge and very like far into fashion and what is considered edgy, whatever it could be. It doesn't mean that you have to be edgy, but I mean, you could be like a very prominent singer and people are drawn to it for some reason. A lot of the times they are shown as artists mostly, like painters or like those sort of things. But they could be anything that is artistic. The other one is the Tremere, and they are from the outside like gothic, strange beasts, people that have a knack to fall in a certain organized, what am I looking for, like the old ways of sort of necromancy in a way. They are searching for different ways of doing rites and rituals to change the event of time. Very strange, like group. Without trying to get too much into any of them. The ones that I'm having trouble with is because they do have a lot of background. Ventru is like really simplistic, often the leaders, like traditional suits and fine looking, very high in society, nobles. They are not always, but mostly the ones that will be the rulers of all clans, like the prince. Could be like a king, it could be like a queen, could be anything that just takes all of them. See it as like a Ventru is a normal clan, but from the clan, it could be the one that also rules them all. So they are definitely the more stronger society of them all. And then it's in the background. There is this sort of weird one, which is the caitiff, which we're not going to play with. But it could be mentioned as a sort of, we don't have a clan. They had to include it somehow. If you don't want to be one of these, you could then become like this, like nondescript one. But I think it's kind of fun if we stick to the clans that are and try to find a common ground for it. So I know that Redix, you have a little bit more leg up. Do you know which one you want to take straight off?
It is either going to be Malkavian or Ventru.
And Vamp, of all of them that just made a clog of information, any of them that sounded fun or cool? You could do two of the same clan. You don't have to be different clans.
I actually had liked Tremere or the Bruja.
Mm-hmm.
They sounded fun. I'm thinking Bruja. Maybe.
From the core book, I don't know if you see the live feed from the stream. That is the image they have for the Bruja. I don't know if it's being shown.
Yeah, I can see it. Pretty good. Okay.
So yeah, consider one that is like a clan that wants to be the anarchists, want to be the one that kind of goes against the grain a little bit and challenge the authority. Doesn't mean that you have to challenge the ruler of all the clans or your own sire or your own whatever. It's more like testing the boundaries of if you're out and about, something happens, you're the one who might actually try to push what is legally right. If there is a dispute, you would probably be the one who questions the authority based decisions within the dispute.
Okay.
The Tremere is keeping to themselves a little bit in the secrecy of dark magic. They have like an extra layer of things added to them. It's the thaumaturgy, which is a sort of I can do a specific spell, a specific rite, a specific ritual, instead of these sort of disciplines which are like spells that you can do. So they are different, but I don't know. Redix, do you have a good way of describing them without going too much into it?
Tremere. That's a tricky one. But I mean, they like secrets. They like magic. They're gonna have like tattoos. They're gonna have like earrings and piercings. They're gonna have amulets, maybe bracelets. They're gonna wear like capes, coats, like long boots, leather coats. They're gonna have chalices so they drink blood out of just casually, just weird magic adjacent pseudo stuff.
Yeah, I would say like a twist between a gothic warlock, um, present day witch sort of thing. And the Bruja has a nickname of Rabble, not the rebel, but rebel. Um, they could dress and assume the attitudes of street hoods, um, any sort of provocative sort of thing, trying to be just pushing the boundaries.
Okay. I think I won't go Bruja.
You want to go that route?
No, I think I'll go. Let me read through the thing I wrote down real quick. You know what? I think I'm gonna go Torador. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the artist.
Hmm.
Yeah, that sounds like it'll be a lot simpler for me. So I'll go with them.
So then we will do a little bit of a jump back, which is gonna be the core tab.
Okay.
Make my own sort of thing. My own mortal is wrong. Char one. Vampire. The idea behind the attributes and the abilities, which is basically like your strength and your kind of skills and stuff, is that you will be fairly good or good in one set, in one tier.
Mhm.
You will be okay in the other, and the last one you will be like not so good. And it's kind of like easy to understand it, which is that the physical will do a lot with the physical stuff, with like combat and all the sort of normal strength checks, dexterity checks. Stamina is used to what they are calling soak the damage, which is kind of like you do a damage, you get struck by a sword, you get shot or whatever, but instead of being a raw damage on your body, you will be able to soak it with stamina. Over to the socials, charisma is sort of the charismatic aspect. Manipulation will be when you're trying to change someone's mind or whatever. And a lot of them are cross referenced. So if you're looking at like manipulation, maybe you take that one with a talent of intimidation and you fuse the numbers together. So each of these circles are what they are calling a dot, which makes sense, like a dot. And if you just click it, there will be a filled little like dot. If you look at top left, you have to have the lock open so you can kind of use the character sheet.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And each dot represents a D10. So if you have 2 in manipulation and 2 in intimidation, you will have a dice pool of 4, 2 plus 2. And the one that is going to be used quite a bit as well is the sort of mental aspect. Perception goes well with like, do you see this thing quickly or do you register whatever, sort of any perception based things. And it could also be referenced back to the sort of expression, empathy, any sort of other. If you see this sort of change in someone, if someone is trying something, are you perceptive enough to see it? Intelligence is kind of raw intelligence, like this is what I know, this is what I have been taught, or this is something that is known to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the difference in wits are quick understanding or quick solving. So wits could be really quickly doing something, or at the very second understand what is happening, or quickly doing a puzzle or whatever. But you could also argue, if you have a little bit more time, you could use intelligence instead. So for computing sake, if you're trying to hack a desk or whatever, if it's giving you a lot of time to do whatever you do, you use intelligence, but you can also use wits to like quickly just solve whatever it is. But that's where we will go with the attributes. And this is not going to be like a factor straight up. You can go back because it's the first time you're playing it. But you're going to get this sort of 7, 5, and 3. Those are the numbers that you will be able to put in any order. But they are tiered based. So you get 7 dots in social, for instance. You put all 7 dots there. You can go as high as you want or as low as you want. and then you have 5 points in another and 3 points in the third. Make sense?
I think so.
Yeah. So if you want to use 7 dots in social, that's where you put all your 7. Then you have 5 to put in either mental or physical. And then you have 3 for the one that you didn't pick. Normally you would use the 3 to do like 2, 2, 2. But if you want to be really good in one, you put it up. So to make a comparison, 1 dot is below average, 2 is average, 3 is a little bit above, 4 is someone that is really, 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 really good, and 5 is considered like a Olympic sort of really, really the best.
Okay.
So you can put the points wherever you want, where you feel is. If you're looking at the Toreador, it could be a question of, do you want to have a very strong charisma if you're being like a person that is on a stage, or do you want to have a fairly good appearance that is going to be something that you're going to be like a model? It all depends on if you're feeling the social, or do you want it to be more the mental aspect instead.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I will say I keep intelligence and wits even simpler. Intelligence is your book smarts, and wits is your street smarts.
Yeah,
So
in a way, yeah.
dodging traffic is wits that you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
Reading a book can take a week. That's intelligence. Same with learning how to code, or I look at it that way. That makes it a little simpler to put things into which box.
So we get if you fill it out fully for one of them, a little thing pops up. And what am I supposed to put in that? Like a little text bar shows up if I.
Yeah, I think they are asking for these specialities, but we're not going to bother with them now.
Okay.
We're going to look at it later because it's going to be. So if you fill it up with 4, I think it is 4 or more.
Yeah, I think so.
Then it's
I think
going
it
to
starts
ask
at
about
4.
the specialities. So do nothing and just leave it. And 4 will give you some sort of extra thing in the end. How far do you guys feel you have gotten? Are you done, or like I said, we're probably gonna see that you're changing it later to like, okay, that's what charisma meant for me. I'm not gonna have it.
I'm guessing dexterity is just like agility, essentially.
Yeah, dexterity is agility.
Okay. that part done at least.
Feel like that is something that worked
I think so.
for you, Redix?
Yes, I think I am done.
Great. The next one is 13. I'm just going straight off 13, 9, and 5, I would say, without looking. Yeah. So
9 and 5. Okay.
29 and 5. And the same sort of idea there too. However, here you can't go higher than 4 dots. That's how we played it, and we're gonna stick by the old ways. God damn it.
9, 5, no higher than 4. Okay.
And depending on a little bit what kind of artist or whatever you want to, what is the idea behind it, Vamp? Do you
I
want
have
to
no idea. I'm gonna have to come up with her because I'm actually going in a completely different direction than I thought I was going to be.
So craft, for instance, under skills are you could do sculptures, you could do paintings. If you want to be a poetry reader, it's going to be performance. But you could also go into talents with expression. You can do like expressional stuff on a stage, or even doing expressional stuff, written stuff like poetry books. You can do stuff that are considered a way of an outlet of art, but you could also do it in a little bit more darker way of seeing it, as all the vampires that have been created as of now for you guys, you are the new ones, they have a what's called a sire. And the sire is the one who saw something in you or wanted a companion. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you are a known or good performer or artist or whatever it is. It could actually just mean that the sire wanted a muse and or a companion, and you just happened to kind of horseshoe into the Toreador. I've seen different versions of being portrayed of it, but it's always fun to have a stronger connection to the clan through like I am a artist of some sort.
Okay.
So it is a little bit up to you. You could also kind of go down to the route of being like a I don't know, the sort of founder of Apple, and you could have stuff in computer. You can really just make it your own what the Toreador is. It's very often to see like just a painter or like a artist, but there is a plethora of things that you could name art being or expressional things.
What is the difference between awareness and alertness?
Awareness or alertness is more the sort of perceptive sort of part where you could very quickly see and understand things that are happening. And awareness are more towards the occult things. And I'm trying to just pick it up so I don't say it wrongly. Alertness simply indicates how aware you are of the world around you. And
Okay.
the they have awareness somewhere else on this one then. They don't have it in the original book, but they have it in other books. So I can look in another book. Mage uses awareness.
Just to clarify, you are going to go Brawl being unarmed, melee is armed, right?
Brawl is unarmed, melee is with a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have a sword or so. There we have alertness, awareness. The sense of unknown, the sort of unnatural activities. And you could more or less be a psychic if you have a very high awareness.
Thank you.
So that's a good kind of point too. Brawl is, without a weapon. And if you look on the other skills, if you want to be more like someone that has a sword or a stick or whatever it might be, is a melee weapon. And then you have firearms, which are like any sort of weaponry that shoots. So there are 3 different skills to be used for combat. If you don't use like politics.
What are you going to pair craft with? Which attribute?
Depends on how you want to kind of go about it, I would say.
Well, let's say I want to, I don't know, if I want to build a bomb. Just an example, like what attribute would go with crafting a bomb?
Intelligence. If you want to do a bomb really quickly, it's going to be wits. But normally intelligence, because you don't want to make a bomb quickly.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, you never know. I mean, with the way you guys are playing it. So.
You know, I have to embrace the Malkavian.
Oh, I'm so gonna have to change that. I know I am.
It was 13, 9, and 6?
5.
5.
If it helps, he's wrote them down on the side.
Yeah, in the chat foundry.
You said no more than 4 in any of these, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Probably a horrible choice, but I'm going to go with that. What's animal kin? Is it just like general animal knowledge or
Anything that has to do with animal handling, teaching it, doing stuff like. Even if you want to know how to build a terrarium or tend to fishes or whatever, everything is kind of horseshoed into animal kin.
Okay. This was curious.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I've got that section done then.
How about you, Redix? Are you feeling good or bad?
Wait, no, I did not. I missed some. I'm sorry. Don't know how I did that.
Yeah, just have a knowledge ones left.
Which is your 5 or?
Mm-hmm.
I guessed it.
That's my 5 as well. Uh,
I would say that you, Redix, you did 9, 13, 5.
that's what I did.
Yeah, I think that you did.
You mean left to right?
Yeah.
Nope.
You did 13, 9, 5.
Mhm.
All right, all right.
Okay. Now I've got mine.
And you, Redix, as well.
Yes.
Or roughly. So the vampires all have a selection, 3 of them, sort of spell schools, which in the game is called disciplines. And each clan has different ones that are not only owned by them, but some are, but most of them are shared amongst the other ones, but some are defined by one. And you can then choose to do a little bit whatever you want to do with them. And I will try to be as helpful as possible to kind of guide you along. For Redix, you will probably know it easily. Do you know your own Malkavians?
I believe it is 3. It's Auspex, Obfuscate, and one more.
Dominate.
Dominant.
Yeah. So you can then just press plus on your disciplines and press 3 times you have them in. And with the sort of pen thing, you can kind of go in and change it. So it will be the obfuscate and stuff. But for you, Vamp, the Toreador have I will write it down because it's probably going to be easiest for you. The Auspex, the shady thing, which is the celerity and presence. These 3 are your disciplines, and the Auspex in very short term is extrasensory perception, awareness, and premonitions. Celerity, supernatural quickness and reflexes.
Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to figure out how I fill things in on this one.
You
Wait.
go to disciplines and with the green little plus thing on the right side, you just press it 3 times and you get 3 tabs.
Okay, got that part.
And then when you want to change from new discipline, you just have beside the red little trash it, you have a pen. Edit discipline.
Okay.
And when you have that open, you can then change the name and just copy the one that I wrote for you there. Auspex, celerity, presence. So you have all of them 3. The other one, or the third one, is presence for you, the ability to attract, sway, control crowds. I know it's just words for the moment, but I will tie it together for you. The easiest one, Vamp, is celerity. Celerity is basically the amount of dots you have, another thing or another action you can do. Sort of, you're so quick, you could do more stuff.
Okay.
However, they are within the same round as everyone else, which means that certain things can't be done twice. If it's a machine, the machine can't all of a sudden work twice because it's in the
Okay.
same time. It's not you are doing stuff quickly. So in that sense, you can punch someone twice, you can kick someone twice, you can hit them with the bat twice, but you can't shoot them twice because you can't make the revolver all of a sudden work twice because it's a machine. But that makes it so that you could move and do something where everyone can only move, sort of. But that's the easiest discipline to describe. The other one that you have is the Auspex. And like I said, is a extrasensory awareness. And for each dot you will get a sort of ability that you can use. And I will just go through them and you can kind of like, if this sounds cool, we will go into more depth with them and we can kind of go through them.
Okay.
So with the Auspex, the first dot you will have is then called heightened senses. And you will more or less get more, almost like a Spider-Man ability. Your senses become very strong and sensitive. The things that are just a whisper will be clear to you. It's nothing that is very specific, like there isn't something that you could tangibly say that this is what it is, but heightened senses is one. If you put 2 into it, you get an aura perception, which basically means that you can look at someone or see someone and you will see a sort of aura coming off them. And with that being said, these auras will show you emotions, but could also show what kind of trait they are. You could see if they're a human, if they are something of a magical nature. So it's a very strong one in that sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And later on, you will do other stuff. But with the third dot, because you're only going to get 3 dots, 3 points. And the third dot in Auspex is Spirit Touch, which is you can pick up an object and gain the impression of one of the individuals who last held it. It's basically like a snapshot.
Touch feel. Yeah.
And the other one, because you can't do more, I'm not going to go through them. It's too much, that's just unnecessary. So that's the Auspex and celerity. 1 dot equals like one more thing you can do in a round. The presence is 1 dot is awe. And you could do a charisma and acting. And with it, you can then basically make people listen and become very attuned to you. And depending on how many successes you get, more people could be affected by it. And they will be like intensely attracted to you. And will do as much as they can to be closer and follow. So it's a sort of like presence maneuver. With the second one is a dread gaze, and you could then cause fear and loathing in the mortal people. And it's a charisma intimidation roll. And it is basically like a very strong dread that you can kind of look into someone's eyes.
Okay.
And the third dot is entrancement, and it is a strong sort of I want you to serve me, follow what I have to say, kind of like a command spell. So I know it's a lot of information. Anyone that you felt like that sounded cool, but I just wanted to kind of confirm or hear more?
Entrancement sounds really good. And then let me see what
The thing is, with entrancement, you have to go and put all 3 points in to get it.
I see. I misunderstood that. Okay.
No worries.
And also aura perception sounded good as well.
Yeah, that is in aspects, and that's a
Yes.
2 in or perception in aspects.
Okay.
Do you want to hear something, or do you have the book in front of you, Redix?
I'm looking forward the levels in each one does, but not seeing where it is.
You got the aspects, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the dominate is with the first dot. You can give a one-word command to another, and the command must be obeyed instantly, and it must be simple and concise word, like jump, sit, stand, laugh, and cry. And here is like the blurred line between both presence and dominate. Presence is more giving off and kind of touching base on like this wave of energy, where dominate is more stark difference of like I will tell you what to do. The second dot is mesmerize, which is you implant a suggestion into the unconscious mind of the subject. And it requires a little bit of concentration. And that suggestion cannot force the subject to do something against the nature of it, and only one suggestion could be implanted in a subject at any time. But the cool one in Dominate is definitely when you get up higher. The third one is the Forgetful Mind, which is basically Jedi mind trick. You can steal, create, remove memories from a subject. Depending on this number of successes, it could be a memory loss that lasts but a day. More may remove a memory but not alter, may slightly alter the memory and stuff like that. It kind of gets better and better the more successes you get. What else did you have? Obfuscate. The first dot is the Cloak of Shadows. You are able to conceal yourself, if not fully. You need some cover to hide yourself, and the whole obfuscate is basically trying to be sneaky and remove yourself from the scene. There is no real roles, because since obfuscate succeeds once the criteria has been met, and you're just slightly dipping into the shadows, being harder to be seen. The second one is the unseen presence, and you become so potent that it is effective, cause yourself to disappear indefinitely and remain hidden even if you walk around. You're completely ignored unless someone specifically looks for you. People will move about in ways that cause them to avoid you, and will even take actions to remove themselves from your vicinity. You're kind of like the Assassin's Creed sort of thing. You can just move in and people don't really seem to understand why. The third dot is Mask of 1,000 Faces. But that's sort of like changing the appearance. You don't get hidden, but it makes you appear as someone other than who you truly are. Your appearance does not actually change. You simply make people think they see someone else. And depending on the more details and more you could kind of change and tweak it. At the first level or success, people could still pick you out on a police lineup, but with a fifth one, the character can even appear as someone else from the opposite sex. And the aspects, we kind of went a little bit through that one.
Yeah, I know what I'm going with.
How about you, Vamp? Do you have...
I got my mine filled in.
You have your locked in, your answer.
Yes. 2 in auspics, 1 celerity. Talent and knowledges. Let me see where we put the thing that is good to have. That one is up. Let me see. And would you take like a quick look at the sheet just to make sure I'm filling it in correctly so far? I'm pretty sure it should be good, but just to double check.
Classic Vampire. Clan Books Revised. Second core. Let us have a gander. Yeah, it looks good.
Cool. Thank you.
And I will see if I can. Yeah, this is something for you guys. I will share it in Discord. I don't know. Could you open that thing?
Yeah, I have the same one open.
Thinking about it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yes.
It helps you to kind of copy paste the text and stuff. Good place. Good. So the next part is what could be a fun little addition to the character. And it is called the backgrounds. And I'm trying to see where the hell did I put that? In notes? Yeah, in notes. Weird. There is a section called backgrounds. And backgrounds in a very short sort of description is things that you have gathered, things that are true to the character, that gives it a little bit of flair, that could also be considered a benefit, like special abilities, but these ones are very specific. And some of them are definitely more powerful or potent, and some of them are more for flair, but it's all up to you to kind of decide which ones you want to have. And mind that this is more a storytelling game, so the sort of resources will be like a indication of wealth, and it has numbers attached to it, but this is more a storytelling game where if you have one dot in it, it won't be a lot at all. But if you have 5, you are very, very rich, and it's going to be so throughout the game. So it's not going to be a lot of like you're losing stuff or you're going to be experiencing a sort of too much detail to it, if that makes sense. And if you look on the backgrounds, we do have allies. And the description is human, confident, usually family or friends. And the benefits, if we look into the book, is on page 171. And these ones will kind of continue to be a thing for you moving on. And the allies will be sort of like someone you can confide in and be helpful in certain ways. And they will be loyal. They will speak the truth to you. They won't deceive you. They will always be helpful. The other one is contacts, which is similar to that, but helpful in the way that they will give you stuff or give you information if you're on a mission or if you're out searching for stuff and something comes up and you're wondering what is the correct answer to this. You can call a contact. If the contact haven't been revealed, same with an ally, it will be revealed in the game, and that's going to be the contact that we will use. Fame is exactly what it is. If you have one dot in fame, you're known by a selective subculture, kind of like DE celebrity or whatever. You're known by that movie, that small movie, or like one thing. But if you have a 5, you're nationally famous individual. And vampires can be famous. They could be like people search and kind of go after, but it's still a very high level of you have to keep the masquerade. The generation is a weird one. It could be considered like one of the more potent special ones, because we talked about the generations, and you are, when you start, generation 13. And if you put points into it, you will then lower your generation, meaning that you are of an older generation than like the neonate new ones that would be the case otherwise. And it kind of shows as well a little bit on the page 173 that if you are lower generation, you have more blood pool, which could be used for a lot of stuff. And you can then use more blood points per turn, could be used for a lot of stuff, meaning that you're more powerful.
Did you say 173?
Yeah, it's in the normal one. I think the one that you're looking in is more condensed, maybe.
Yeah, I just was curious because it's only 171 pages for me. No, 170 pages. So that just had thrown me off. Sorry.
Yeah, you on 107.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Exactly.
Thank
What
you.
he said. Herd is, as a vampire, you need to feed at times as your blood pool lowers, or you do some stuff where the blood that you have is getting lowered. You need to, in quotation, feed. Normally, it could be difficult to feed if, for whatever reason, you could be like hunted or you could be laying low or whatever. So you don't really want to go out and feed. Herd is basically a group of mortals whom you can feed without fear. They are loyal to you and they will always be around you. If you call them, they will come. And depending on how many points you put into it, more vessels, more mortals you have as a sort of commune or whatever you want to call it. Influence is basically the influence you could have within a certain part. It could be a influence within the political sphere of the clans, and most of them is catered to it, but it could also be, if you wanted to, more a influence through like the law or political scene normally. Mentor is exactly kind of like what it is. If you have 1 point in mentor, it will be a very simple one with little influence. If you have 5 points, it will be one of the older ones that is known that you could ask favors of, or you could kind of ask questions to, and will help you. Resources are kind of like your money bank. If you have 1 point in resources, you will have a little bit of coin. If you have 5 points in resources, you will be filthy rich. You will have a lot of money. You can buy stuff throughout the campaign at your own leisure. Retainers are assistants and servants, but loyal ones, more like Batman's butler, you know, someone that is very, very, very helpful and a good companion, and the one who will drive home the car when you needed to, or will show up with the weapons of need, whatever it might be. It's one person, and depending on, you can get more if you put more points into it. Status is as it is. It's kind of like how much status do you have within the vampiric scene within the clans. If you want to have a prince status, you can have it if you put 5 points into it. You will start with 7 points, I think.
That's very generous.
Isn't it that much? 5 points. Yeah, 5 points. So 7 wasn't so much generous. It was like a little bit of an topped off. I think it's 7 in mage, because you could put 5 and a 2. But here you only get 5 points.
Where do we put these?
In other? Nej, notes. And the top green button is backgrounds. And if you just press the green button and nothing happens, you have to use the arrows to look down. That was weird. But I guess after a while, there is a lot of stuff that has been added to. But same sort of thing with the pen by the trash bin. You can kind of change whatever it is, how many points you put into it. Any questions? Good. Good.
Well, that was easy for me.
Is it easy for you, Vamp?
I'm still looking through things, trying to figure out how I went things.
Put all points in resources. Be that one. What did you go for, Redix?
I went with the generation and resources.
Oh, nice.
We get 5 points, right?
Yes. Divide them however you please. You can put 1 point in a lot of stuff or really go for one. One thing I don't really like about the character sheet is that they use different font sizes or different fonts all in all. It's like here we have 16 in size and here we have like 7, here we have 8. It looks weird. But other than that, it just works. It looks good.
Maybe that's I know what it was. Sorry, I'm trying to
No.
hurry.
And a lot of these backgrounds are for you guys to incorporate and kind of use rather than me pushing them into the story. So whenever you want to use your resources, you're going to use them, or whenever you want to use a contact, it's on you to call them, sort of deal.
Wait, how do I add a new one? Oh, right there. Okay.
Was that an okay to continue on?
I'm typing up the last thing right now. Well, transferring it. Okie doke.
You have 1 more point. You have 5 points.
Oh, yes.
So either 1 point in something or 3 in one. I think you have to have the thing open.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I have to. Okay.
Okay, got it.
All right. This is a game where it's a constant battle with the sort of beast within you and the humanity that you have. And they try to really emphasize a sort of lighter evil and trying to kind of like make a sort of balance in between what the beast could do and see and what you as a mortal human back then could dare to kind of witness. And that is the virtues in its own. And you will put out points. I will describe, though, what they are about. Each of these virtues are rolled in different circumstances depending on what would happen and might happen. It's not often, but it does arrive a time when you have to roll for them. And like I said, it's the description of the mortal strength and the weakness of the vampire. Let's see, it's a conscience first. Conscience is a role to see if the remorse is felt and humanity loss thus averted when a character commits acts of evil, a conscience to what you've done. Self-control is a role to see if a character can resist the urge to basically let the beast go, what is called frenzy. Courage is a role to see if the character can avoid panic at the sight of open flame or the sun. Because in this game, open flames and sun is really bad. It's like really, really bad. So you will be able to put out points, and I'm trying to see where they actually say how much points.
Just real quick, could you roll courage against true faith?
For what?
But if you are afraid of it, then run away.
I think it's self-control.
Okay.
Every character automatically starts with one dot in each of the three virtues. And you may then assign. How many points are there left then? 8, 12. And then you may assign 7 additional dots as you fit. Meaning that may, if you want to be less, you can do so. So 1 in each to start with, and then 7 up to 7.
Is there a cap per?
No.
And I'm done.
For you, Vamp, did you?
I'm gonna right now.
Virtue. And it's a done, and done.
Yes.
So easy to do these ones. Willpower is equal to your courage rating and will thus be from 1 to 5. Willpower. Humanity is equal to conscience plus self-control, ranging from 2 to 9.
Very, very simple math here.
I know. And then we get down to the blood pool. pool. If you don't have any generation, you're good to go. 10. If you have generation, you will see in the description how much extra you get. The blood pool is a sort of bank of points that could be used to some degree in some spells, but mostly to regenerate damage that you have taken. And like I said, some spells as well. And when you start, you will now roll a d10 to see how much you start with. You have a pool, but you don't know how much that pool is filled when you start, right? So roll a d10 and fill said numbers. Six. Okay. Okay.
I could eat.
Yeah. Vamp, you definitely need to eat.
Oh boy.
And then we're getting down to what is very messy and will take a lot of time, mainly for you guys, which is the freebie points. And the freebie points, I think, are discussed somewhere in this one.
I want to say 5.
I was more referring to your health. Yeah, 115. Oh, that's the character development. Going back. Choosing virtues, willpower. Looking ahead. Have you seen the freebies in this thing? Okay. We'll do it alla Manuelo. So freebie points are when you've done the character, all the points and stuff, you get a small little goodie bag of points that you can put into whatever you want, but it is costing you depending on what you put or buy. And $15. Let's see here. 15 points, freebies with a set because that's cool. The disciplines, and what I'm writing is per dot. Attributes, 5 abilities, 2 choose power to humanity, background 1. There you go. If I spelt it wrong, I didn't look at the keys. So it's up to you to just, if you want to buy 1 dot, that's the point you have to pay with the 15 points you have. Meaning that if you want, you could further your disciplines. But now that you have the sort of text, I don't have to read for you the next part in a discipline.
I hate asking this, but I somehow managed to miss how many points we got for humanity and willpower.
Willpower is your courage rating. So it's 1 to 5.
And then humanity was
Conscience and self-control together. So 2 to 9, somewhere around there.
okay. I have shit willpower.
Willpower is used to I have to look it up, but I as we played it, you could use 1 and only 1 to get a free success. Willpower is also used to withstand certain disciplines and
Yeah.
certain skills. If you don't want to, you roll for willpower. And humanity, you want to be around 5 to 7. If you lose humanity, your character will be forfeit. Too low humanity means that the beasts have taken over and you can't play the character.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm okay on humanity. It's just my willpower that shit. Because willpower is just purely courage, right?
Yes. So.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And normally I would say that willpower, it would be good if you have 7-ish. Yeah.
I only have 2 courage, so.
So I mean, you
Yeah.
could buy willpower from the freebie points. That's why you have them.
And so it would cost 2 freebie points to power up each one for willpower?
Yeah.
Okay.
The points are per dot.
Okay. Just
So,
wanted to
yeah.
to make sure I was understanding it right.
So if you have 2 and you want to get up to like 8, that's 6 times 2, so that's 12 points.
Yep.
Quicker the math. Which makes it so that you have like 3 points left, 2 and a 1 maybe, upping another background maybe either 3 times or maybe have 9 in the willpower and 1 extra background or more in background, or maybe 1 in humanity. And in the thing with the humanity, it's a sort of balance act. You don't want to have too much humanity, because then your character is going to be leaving the beast and questioning why you are a vampire, and that's not what you want to do either. And you won't see the problems of what a hunter could do to you, or see the sort of loopholes they will use, because the beast ain't there anymore. And yeah, the there is a sort of balance between.
Yeah, that will do nicely.
And you're done too, Vamp?
No, I was trying to get this thing to open, but for some reason it's decided to stop working for me.
Which is that thing?
Auspex, I had wrote down the things you had listed for it, and I was going to fill it in, and it it will not open whatsoever. Oh, there it is. Never mind. Found it.
Hmm.
For some reason, it went behind everything.
Yeah, they have like open and close tabs and stuff, and that can be.
Yeah, I don't know why that one went behind when all the others were up front.
Yeah. If you get the performance skill to 5, you can make it. The descriptions that are in the books are quite funny. I think that either it was manipulation or some sort of haggle or sell or whatever. If you had 5 points in it, you could sell ice to the Eskimos. So the
Nice.
descriptions are quite funny. And like I said, it's one of those where the system works if you're looking at it from a storytelling aspect, but it's horrible if you're gonna kind of like try to make it make sense. Here you're just looking for, do you succeed or not? Are you a little bit better? You get a couple of more dice in your pool, but it doesn't make sense if you want to dissect it, which we're not going to do. Have had a lot of discussions about the system, but it works really well as a storytelling sort of system. So you have done the freebie points now as well.
Yes.
And then normally, in quotation, normally, you go through this sort of sections when you start, which is I think it's in bio here. Yeah, bio.
Okay.
In the bio, you put in your clan, and your generation is 13 if nothing has made it otherwise through generation in the background.
You can be an Assamite?
You could in the later versions, but we're not playing the later versions.
Sorry.
No. And when you're looking at the sort of the archetypes, the nature and demeanor and stuff like that, it's really difficult when you start a character or for the first time to to know what to put in there. So I often say that let's create a character and then you can go back and it's easier for you to fill it out. And the concept is a sort of thing that you did back as a human, a sort of like a whole thing that kind of describe what you were. They say like the soldier, the worker, the kid, the outsider, the politician, and so forth. And it's more there to be the hint of what you were rather than being a specific thing that would be changing the game or the style of you. It's more for you. And the nature and demeanor are two things that are considered fairly often like optional. And I would say when we start, we won't really put too much pressure into them. It's more a sort of, have you played your character the way you have said your nature and demeanor is? You will then get willpower back. It's sort of like a hint on play your character and you will be rewarded a sort of resource, regain the resources. And it works so and so, I would say. It's sort of like the earlier alignment. You have to be laughing neutral, so therefore I can't do this thing without effing everything up, you know. So you can look at the nature and demeanor and kind of think about it and put things in at a later time. And if we continue on with it, we will definitely look at putting some sort of prompt to it. And as you look at the other things that you can kind of put in there as well, you see that there are things that is not really in my older books sort of thing, but I know it's here. The part of what is the next one? Concept, the derangement. Derangement is things that you could pick up like a madness sort of thing. And it's more probably to you, Redix, and you know the derangement that might happen to you. The part there is it's not going to be something coming up for you, Vamp, initially. So it's one of those things where we'll take it when it comes to it or comes down to it.
Okay.
And when looking at what's the next, the sect is the sort of group you belong to, the group that you are with. And I would say that in this case, we will put in Camarilla with a C and 2 L's.
Oh, not the True Black Hand.
No, not
Okay.
the Sabbath. And you could put in the clan, the one that you picked. And the bloodline is the same thing, where it's sort of like the part of the clan, so you don't have to put more in there. Desire is up to you to decide. It's basically the one who made you into a vampire. If you have a good idea of what that might be, like a story element or like just a couple of sentences or whatever, what would that be? Like that could be like a name and then just whom that might be. There's no need to kind of go in too much details if you don't want to.
So because I have to pick one, I'm gonna go with Amnesia.
With
I get a freebie.
there you go. And the last one is a weakness. Each clan does have a weakness. It states on your clan what kind of weakness it is. The Toreador is something with art. Let's see. The members of this clan are as much prisoners to their artistic vision and sensitivity as they are its beneficiaries. So that is maybe something you want to just copy paste in. And that's what I meant too with you, Redix, as a Malkavian. The weakness is that you get the derangement. So yeah, freebie there. Now let's see. Number of die. Okay. I'm trying it out to see how you actually roll stuff. Makes sense. So charisma. Performance. Charisma. What happens if we do... All right. So if you go charisma and look, and we do the same sort of thing with performance 1. Oh, use speciality look. Okay. Oh, so it's in bracket. So what happens if I do the same thing and do 1? Oh. All right. You feel that the characters are done somewhat? Or any questions about the character sheets in general?
Think I've got it.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
For you, Redix, any question marks?
Well, I mean, I haven't played this edition, but I know I have some specialties to add, but that's all I can see left.
Yeah. So with the specialties, normally it basically is a sort of quotation, make shit up. It's up to the GM to decide what that means. What we have done is that if you have the speciality, if you have that sort of special thing with whatever it is, you get a bonus die. So if we look at the strength, for instance, it could be strong grip, massive, husky, able-bodied, broad shoulder. It's difficult to say that this sort of thing will be my speciality if the door won't open and I push it with strength and I have like broad shoulders, but maybe somewhere down the line it could be used for whatever reason. It's easier to kind of go with acting, maybe pretend role playing, inspiration, faint emotion, stage. So whatever it is, and you can make up a speciality if you want to yourself. It is a specific thing that derives off the attribute ability. And if it clicks in on whatever you're doing or are asked to kind of roll for, you get a bonus die. And the whole system relies on the dice pooling, like we said before, where you put the dices together, and there is a difficulty somewhere down the line where 6 is like most norm, and everything is a success that then the die of 1 will subtract, and if you get more 1s than successes, it's called a botch. And the botch is kind of like a fumble sort of idea. I feel like the sort of speciality just looks weird on the character sheet. It destroys it a little bit. Blah, blah. Well, it is what it is. How many specialities did you get? A lot of them?
I have 5.
You, Vamp?
See.
A couple. What else is good to kind of talk about? Doesn't show, does it? Oh, it wound with penalty. Well, the penalty is very, very difficult to kind of see. Have you gotten the specialities done and done?
Yeah, I just picked names from the list, keeping it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid.
Stupid. Where is that? I'm looking for it, and I'm.
The specialities in general?
Yeah.
It is in the skills and all of that. So in your part. Uh, 90, 89? Is it the physical and
Attributes?
huh?
The physical attributes?
Yeah, if you look at string, for instance, before the dots, it says speciality.
Okay. Thank you. I somehow managed to miss that.
Yeah, no worries.
Apparently, I need new glasses earlier than I thought.
New system
Now my computer's
requires
freaking out.
new eyes.
So sorry about that.
No worries. And the general idea behind the combat is that you will definitely take damage at one point, and you can use your blood pool to basically heal up. For one. So one blood point will be or could be spent to restore one health. And the difference is that normally every damage that you will take is normal damage, which is, if you toy it around a little bit, it will be like just a slash. And if you accidentally have done a double click or whatever, and it's a cross, that's not good. The crosses is what they call like a aggravated wound. And it could be from fire, it could be from silver, it could be from specific things. And you can't really heal from it normally. And it's a pain. We'll get more into it when we get there, but a point for point. If you have a lower generation, there is a note on you might be able to kind of use 2 blood pool points. You can also use 1 blood point to add 1 point to a specific physical attribute. So strength, dexterity, or stamina, kind of showing that the vampire all of a sudden gets stronger or quicker. And for the remainder of the scene, you will then get a extra die. And a scene is basically the sort of action that is happening. So even if it's a new round or is something changes something happens that changes hands or whatever, as long as it's within the same sort of scene, you will still have the benefit. You can also give small portions of your blood to others in order for them to heal. It is depending on what kind of victim you are draining, you could get a different blood point or pool back. For instance, a average human has about 10 points worth. And if you drink all of the blood, the person will die. If more than half is drunk or drained, I would say drained is a better word for it, the person will need to be hospitalized and maybe even die. So half of what the amount the victim has. Anything else that is good to kind of put up? There will be cases where we will use willpower or humanity rolls, or see if any of you will reach this sort of frenzy state or something like that. But I want to keep that as something that might arrive or not, rather than just push in all the information.
Okay, I do have a question for you now. So I was trying to fill in all of my specialties and stuff, and it's I'm not seeing craft at all. Like, um, like it goes from animalkin to drive. It doesn't list craft at all.
Yeah, because it's not a complete second edition crappy game. But I mean, craft is basically the thing that you want to do, like
Okay.
painting or sculpting or whatever it
Be a
might be.
musician.
Yeah, if you're a musician, it's like the instrument or vocal. Craft. Do we have it in this game? Didn't mage have crafting? Or was that a secondary thing? The fun thing with the second edition books that they had, after a while, they printed a book that was called Shadow.
They also did it with academics. It just starts with bureaucracy rather than academics in the book. So I guess I would just go with that instead then.
Let's see what they have here. They have
It helps it's on page 94. Well, 93, 94. It's
academics, instruction, coding text, research, study. Those sort of things.
yeah. What was the thing about text or something?
Quoting texts.
Ah, okay, never mind.
Yeah, sounded boring.
Okay, now I finally have it. Sorry about that.
No worries. Redix, is there anything that you remember is good to point out?
Nothing I can think of.
Heat, sunlight is bad. The vampires can catch diseases, but can't die from it. If one would be staked, that is not good. A stake through a vampire's heart does not cause death, but it does completely immobilize. And depending on how much humanity you have, you will be able to survive as a immobilized person. Lower humanity, you will be able to be as a immobilized unit. Very high humanity, not so long. There are different stages, but like I said, I think those are good to just, if they happen, they will happen. Is there a specific place that you guys want to have this game going in? Like a specific city, place on our beloved Earth?
I hadn't even thought of that actually.
You want
That is a question. No,
You want a big city, a small city, community city?
Should we go like old world or new world?
If you wanted to do like old, there is a way to do that too. But now it's modern time. There
Yeah,
is,
I just meant like something like Rome versus like something here in America.
yeah,
You know, old city versus a newer city.
yeah. I would probably say it's easier to say the states because everyone knows the states. I mean, we could definitely like put a thing through like Italy or Spain or whatever, but not being from around Spain or Italy, there are a lot of things that would be like, I don't know how that actually works or where the things are.
Go for Savannah. Savannah, Georgia.
Silence says that
It's
everyone knows the states except the people from the states.
Maybe we can kill Rick Grimes before the entire thing happens.
Atlanta sucks. Just saying. I think we should wait till he gets to Atlanta, then blow Atlanta up. Any other suggestions though?
Big cities? Do you want the clan groups to be big in size, or do you want the clan groups to be small in size? Both have its benefits or negatives or whatever.
I'd say nothing too chaotic myself, but I'm not even really sure. I mean, I've never played before, so I have no idea what to expect from either of those.
Yeah. If it's a bigger one, there will be a greater presence and more political aspects, I would say. If it's lesser volumes of vampires or clans, it might be more personal and less political because you have to get along.
I kind of would lead towards that myself. Are you fine with a less political one, Rethics?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's just a shorter game, I feel less politics would be a little better, maybe. Just because I'm horrible with names, and I fully admit it.
Everyone will call John, or Ray, or Jackson, John.
I do think though that if we're gonna have it in a southern location, there has to be at least one hillbilly redneck vampire. Preferably one talking about his crawfish and onions.
Wow.
If you've ever seen that guy on YouTube.
Onions.
Wait,
Yeah,
is this the guy who like cooks this giant metal
Yes.
thing on wheels? Yeah.
Yes,
It's pretty cool.
With the mullet of greatness.
Maybe the
only
worst thing I've
person-
ever seen, but it's really funny.
The only person with a better mullet than him is my dad. My dad has the Joe Dirt mullet, and he has been rocking it since I was a kid. But yeah, I just think that would be fun. Just a random hillbilly vampire in the middle of all this shit. I don't know. Sorry, random thought.
No. In this one, the normal things are probably more current. But if you play like, so the whole World of Darkness, which is like the umbrella, where vampire is just one part of it. You have werewolves. You could play different werewolf groups. They are not called clans. They're called something else. And there is the wraith, which is kind of like specters and ghosts. There are the changelings, which are like,
Okay.
yeah, fae in a way, and live in their own sort of realm, but kind of bleeds over into present day. And there are these different versions, but I mean, vampires are probably the most normal, kind of simple direction out of all of them, because all of the other ones just gets super weird quick, and really strange things can happen. If you play like the mage and you botch magic, you could start to imagine stuff, and if you really botch your rolls, that stuff could actually bleed into real life. So you could have nightmares about strange beasts, and all of a sudden these beasts bleeds into, kind of finds its way into the real life. And from having a nightmare, now you wake up having to battle the things that you had a nightmare of.
That's freaking wicked.
So that's
I love it.
But where the vampires are more, these are the things that we have to kind of do, and these are the things that we have to kind of go against. That's it. Yeah. When do we want to go and play this craziness? Tuesday?
I would be okay with that if you are okay with that. I'm good with playing it anytime, really.
Yeah,
I'm
tomorrow.
even good with playing it multiple times.
Yeah, tomorrow we have another game going off. But
yes. Your guys, Cthulhu, right?
Cthulhu, yeah. But Tuesday, I think Redix, you're just vacation free, right?
Let me look at my schedule here. Yeah, it's
Just empty.
yeah. There's nothing.
Oh, nice. Do you want to start at the 10:06 time, whatever it is on your end there, Vamp?
At what time?
The time that we would have started today.
Oh, so like 4:30 my time? Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Where did you get the 30 from? You always start at the
at 4?
hour.
Okay.
The hour.
My brain is all messed up, dude. I'm sorry. But yes, 4 is perfect.
Which is like an hour and 30 earlier than it is now.
Yes.
Or wait.
Yes.
No.
Well.
Yes. 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 So
it's infectious.
Yes.
Oh, this is probably going to be a thing because of reasons. Diablo Rise.
Diablo?
Diablo Rise.
What way?
Well, I mean, it's when you drink from something you shouldn't drink.
Yeah. But I think that the certain things might just be fun if you know about it when it happens.
Yeah, I figured I would just
Yeah. No, there is that, and there is the torpor, and there's the generation, and there's a lot of things in there that we're kind of skipping because let's see if you'll see it. The same thing with like a small little note of warning that Vamp probably needs to drink. If you get that low, it's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see.
A rule that we did, because it became like just ridiculous after a while, was that people don't remember when you drink. It otherwise becomes this sort of like Red Dead Redemption's 2 sort of thing. You shoot one, and from nowhere, a person like, who did that? And you shoot that guy, who did that? And you're like, you drink from one guy, and that guy remembers you, and then you have to kind of take care of that problem. And of course, that person spoke to someone, and then you have to, it becomes this just crude mess that the game doesn't need to have. So what we said was that if you drink normally, not draining completely or whatever, it's more or less something that you just have to kind of, I want to do this. I want to kind of, I need to fill my blood pool again. So I need to find a good victim. And we don't really have to play each one. Otherwise, it's going to be so much. It's more a concern when certain things are in play. If you're hiding or if you're pressure on time or whatever, then it's more interesting to maybe make a role for it or describe it a little bit more. Otherwise, if you're on a club, I mean, being able to drain someone a little bit is fairly simple. And that person, if you just drain like a couple of blood points, like 2-3, that person will probably say, I drank too much, I feel tipsy, a little bit lightheaded, right? So that's the way I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
Saving a little bit. But yeah, on Tuesday, Silence might be here then too. I don't know. Cool. That was our let's create a character. A thing that you could think about is your past. Not so much that we will be able to kind of go through it, but it could come up of where you live at the moment. If you don't have a single point in resource, I think both of you have, you don't have anything. Basically, you're bare boned. You're living with your sire, or you live with your respectful other, or whatever it might be, but you don't have jack and shit. But if you have a resource, it kind of describe roughly the sort of volume you have in your resource. So think about what that might be. We could go with a major town, and we could do it in Discord exactly what town or city. But a small group of clans are represented, and see what that will be. And if you want the sire that took you into this world to be prominent or whatever, or have a good idea, then you can make up a story about it. Otherwise, it's going to be one of the clan members, the ruler of it. No one ever goes to a club and claims they were tipsy, no matter how much they drained. Well, they got a little bit tipsy, drank too much like they did, stuff. I don't go out clubbing. I don't know what people say. I took too many drugs. Is that a better one? I don't know. No, so think about the character also, like the looks, the classical sort of dress attire. Is there a specific place you want to go to normally or whatever? And I would say, as we have time throughout the week, maybe do 2 times this week.
Yeah. And
Maybe it will be more. I don't know if you feel like this was super fun, or if you want to try something else.
I always have fun making characters and stuff, so yes.
Mm-hmm. So Vamp, just by creating the character, how did you feel the character creation was?
It's interesting. I like how you did it. I think going in the order you did makes a lot more sense after having looked through the book. But yeah, I think it went pretty good. I'm pretty sure I got everything right. The freebie points definitely helped my willpower some.
Yeah.
Because before that I was like screwed. Yeah, I was very much screwed. So that was definitely a great help. But yeah, I feel pretty good. I can't wait to play. I'm excited to get it up and going.
And for you, Redix, how did you feel the sort of startup creation went?
It's a little different from the later version we played, but it's more or less the same.
Yeah.
It was easy.
This version is a little bit more simplified, as it's the so when they went and did the first Vampire the Masquerade, then they did the second one, and the second one is basically the same thing, but they have just revamped what they've said and how they did it. So the second one is, and the first one is basically the same. And from there on, I think they're up to their 5th edition now, and they did a 20th anniversary edition where they basically took a lot of the stuff they've done, and Clans book and stuff, and just shoved it together, and took like rules they had and shoved it together. And then they did a new Vampire, new generation, or whatever it's called. And then they revamped a lot in that one. A lot. So I figured it's probably easiest and best to do the starter version, because it's not that complicated. It doesn't have nearly as much extra fluff to it. But the other ones might be better. I haven't looked into too much in the newest one, even though I have the Kickstarter book, or the other book.
Sorry.
No. But Tuesday then. How
yes,
about
Tuesday 4.
Yes.
Yes.
Have a good one, and I'll catch you guys on that one.
Yes, can't wait.